this computer. Broadcast meeting go live. So you keep an eye on things. I got to go live over here. A little bit of dead air there. Oh.
That's all right.
I gotta hit this button now too.
I was gonna say I'm not seeing it yet.
All these buttons to hit to get.
Can you hear me?
I can totally hear you.
Okay, I just want to make sure because sometimes this thing does. Hey, we're live now.
Alrighty.
Oh. There we go.
All right, we are live, folks. Welcome to 2021. As the Chinese curse goes, may you live in interesting times, and I think we are seeing that play out right in front of us right now. So welcome to the Evan and Aaron Show. I'm Aaron. This is Evan. We have seen some, just honestly, some of the craziest events over the last, well, since last year when we last saw you. Just some amazing events over the weekend, over the last couple of days, and obviously in the last 24 hours. So right off the bat, I got to ask Evan, we've been dealing with ineptitude for years. We've been dealing with, people that almost can't seem to get out of their own way. But honestly, in 2021, after all that you've experienced in 2021, did you even remotely think the Cleveland Browns were going to make the playoffs? Folks, I've been waiting to set him up with that all day long.
That is so good, man.
All day long.
Oh God,
we are probably not going to get to the Browns and the Colts making the playoffs. We woke up this morning.
I was so looking forward to that discussion, though, man. I had so much to say, but
we'll get to it.
Maybe.
But that we woke up this morning knowing it was going to be a long day, knowing that the president was going to tweet and say and do the dumb shit. But we didn't expect it to this level, and we didn't expect. We expected the challenge to the Arizona vote. We expected the bluster that follows with it. But I don't know that we could have expected on multiple levels what we've seen over the last 12 hours or so.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
When did you first begin to see the craziness manifesting itself? And just what have you thought throughout the day? You and I've chatted off and on a couple times.
Yeah.
But mainly just, in dismay, we're watching things unfold in real time. Now that you've had a chance, just sum up to what you're thinking right now.
I'm thinking, well, first of all, there's a good friend of my significant other's and I's that said that her word of the year was fuckery. And then that is exactly what I was thinking in the entire time I was watching. This was coming a mile away. The Michigan State House takeover was basically a rehearsal dinner. I look at that and you know what? You're right. It was. Kyla, hey, good to have you watching. Guys, all you guys watching, love you. And I know we all have just been shocked by what has happened, but you asked the question, Aaron, what have I thought about watching this stuff all day? And I cleared my schedule for this in the afternoon. I was sitting on the couch just working on classes, and whenever Steve Scalise started in, I started to, it obviously it wasn't Scalise, but when they broke up and went to the House and the Senate, Scalise in the Senate stood up and did his, fuckery. And at that very moment, I began to literally get physically ill. And I was like, this is this is disheartening. And I sat back and I was like, okay, well, this is going to take all night because they're going to protest probably, 3 or 4 states, and it's going to take 12 hours, and okay, that's fine. But when we started to get news of these people gathering outside of the out of the out of Congress, outside of Congress, and when we got news of that, my physical illness grew, because not the last time, but one of the times that stick out in my mind, whenever white people gathered to make America great again, you know, Tulsa burned, Greenwood burned to the ground. And I don't want to be an alarmist. I don't want to be a melodramatic person about this, but my soul hurt, Aaron. I don't know any other. I can't describe it in any other way. It wasn't my like physical being. It literally was my soul that was it. And it wasn't even a hurt. It was like a yearning. It was like a somebody do something type thing. And I really believe that physiologically, it affected me watching this happen. The disbelief, and we'll talk about this later. But the disbelief that that once again, in just my opinion, white America gets a pass. They got a pass. If that was a black crowd, there we would have to clear space for more murals, because there would be so many dead black and brown bodies, and quite frankly white bodies as well, white allies who they don't care. They would just mow us down. And I do not take that back, and I will never take that back. I'm to the point now, brother, where we're so far in on this show that I have nothing more to be than me.
Yeah, don't pull punches.
No, we're not. And you and I, we have some very dear friends. And what I'm about to say, I hope doesn't alienate them.
They're not listening.
But you're right. But if you voted for this dictator, you are complicit in what happened today in our nation's capital. You are.
Yeah.
And nothing short from you saying, I fucked up. I screwed up. And I got caught up in this. Nothing short of you saying that will make it right with me. I'm sorry. It's at a point to where it's not so much just let it slide, or don't pay attention to them, or don't whatever. No, it's beyond that point. I had a good friend who messaged me and said, I have some friends of mine who messaged me and said, hey, we need to just move on from this, and let's not pick at each other and blah blah blah. And she said, that's bullshit. No, you need to own this.
Yeah, lives have been harmed because of this.
Lives has been harmed, man, because here's
a life was lost
detail.
today.
Yeah. And here's an important detail that we must not forget. I was saying this earlier, and then Van Jones came on TV and said the exact same thing, just a lot more eloquently than I could. We can either look at this as an end or a beginning. Is this going to be enough to wake the rest of America up and to say, we have got to put an end to this? We have got to hold accountable those leaders who incited this. We have to demand their removal. We have to demand that they never serve in public office again. And we have to demand that, quite frankly, they stand trial for their crimes. This was inciting a riot. Do we do that? Or do we see the beginning of something more insidious than what we've seen these past 4 years? Do we see the beginning of something that truly will rip America apart? Because my friends, listen, we ain't seen America ripped apart yet. We haven't seen America ripped apart yet. It could get a lot worse. Ask the boys between 1861 and 1865 if it could get a lot worse. It can. Trust me, it can. But is this going to be the end of it, or is this going to be the beginning of it? That's my question, Aaron. I mean, what do you think, man? You've watched the same thing all day too. What do you think?
I'm with you. I've had so many physical responses to things today. I've been angry. I've been overwhelmed and wanted to cry. I just felt a myriad of emotions, and first off, I don't know whether to be shocked by this or not. Because in some ways we were told this was coming. People have been talking about civil war and all this stuff. I just, it's pretty dumb to decide you want to go to war because the government said we think it's a bad idea to own other people, which somehow passes as states' rights. But it's pretty dumb to say you want to start another civil war based on the reasoning of probably the most well-known con man in American history now, except for maybe, P.T. Barnum. I mean, and that's what it's become. It's become a circus, but it's become a circus that's now claiming lives. And the man's not going to leave peacefully. This is one of many attempts. And the thing, I'm really struggling to put a lot of my thoughts together because there's so many things I want to talk about. It is important to note that if this was a Black Lives Matter protest and they attempted to break into the Capitol, there would have been rubber bullets. There would have been tear gas immediately. There are still people milling about. There's the mayor imposed a curfew. There's still people milling about. There's still people berating reporters.
We'd be under the jail, brother.
But on top of that, you knew this was coming. The mayor asked for more support. It never came, but they were woefully unprepared to deal with this. And I understand when you're outnumbered maybe 5-1 as police, you're probably not going to put up quite the same fight. That said, they opened barriers. They allowed people to move forward. I'm going to stop short of saying some police may have been complicit, but we know for a fact that there are police officers and other members of law enforcement that do belong to, white supremacist organizations pretty openly. It is, I said this earlier. Today we saw a mass act of white privilege.
Yeah.
There's no way the response would have been the same if that would have been Black Lives Matter. People keep talking about Antifa and they can just fuck off. Point me to the Antifa manifesto and we can have a discussion. Okay. They're about like anonymous. Okay. I know anonymous exists, but you can't tell me what it is. You can't then, and honestly, anonymous has even more of, a manifesto statement than does Antifa. Antifa is generically against fascism, which, no offense, there's a whole lot worse things to be against. Or I said that wrong. There are a whole lot
we know what you meant.
There are far worse political pursuits.
We know what you meant.
But
keep going.
It just was it over when the Germans bombed Pearl Harbor?
Yeah, right. Man, let me jump in. Okay. And I promised myself I wasn't going to get emotional tonight, man.
There's no way not to, man. This is our country burning in front of our eyes.
Because I'm literally sitting at my I'm literally sitting at my kitchen table looking at my great-great-grandfather's Civil War discharge papers hanging on my wall, and realizing that every day that he served, the fear, the anxiety, the pit at the bottom of his stomach was a different type of fear than what the majority of the Union Army felt, because his fear wasn't just to die. His fear was to be returned into captivity and he, along with millions of other soldiers, fought shoulder to shoulder to establish something that never was kept, that the promise never was kept. He was told the same lie that we're told every single day. And that is that all men are created equal. You cannot tell me that systematic racism doesn't exist in America when there are still people out on the streets. You cannot tell me that it doesn't exist. You can't say that, because we've now seen a clear picture of who we are. I mean, if you're a believer, Paul said it. He said, when I was a child, I thought like a child, I acted like a child, I talked like a child. But now I've become a man, I see things clearer. Then we see but in as a blur, but now we see clear. And it's like, I don't like what I see. And I think that America today, at least half of America, hopefully more now, sees what we are capable of. But this is something that I feel that Black people have seen, people of color have seen over and over and over again. And we knew we are capable of this. Aaron, Black folks, and I can only speak of myself, but I'm almost positive Black folks knew we are capable of this. Mm-hmm. When we were swinging by our necks, when we were working for someone else, when we were raped, when people were raped and treated as breeding animals, we knew we were capable of this. And if anything, this needs to serve as another George Floyd moment. This needs to serve as another moment in American history where we either come together and demand that these so-called leaders be brought to justice and these so-called patriots be condemned and brought to justice for what they've done. Either we do that, or this will continue the systematic abuse and degradation of not just Black folk, not just women, not just LGBTQ, but all of us. We all have been mind fucked today. We have. Let's just call it like it is.
Yeah.
And that's all I'm going to say right now.
And I have two distinct thoughts. First off, I totally agree. There's a sort of a long-standing agreement that the incoming people don't target their political enemies, as you will. You know, they just sort of move along. You know, Obama made it a point where, you know, we're not going to go after Bush for war crimes. But it got taken to, you know, a new level with Trump, you know, basically saying straight up, you know, lock her up, lock whoever up. Clearly didn't have the courage of his convictions, because, you know, he obviously has the authority to try to pursue it, which lets you know how little, you know, and as someone famously said, there's no there. But it was a threat. It was a constant threat, and I think a lot of people politically have worried about that. I'm not suggesting, and I don't think you are, I'm not suggesting that we go after people simply because they were the opposition for 4 years.
No.
I think we have pretty credible evidence of people breaking the law. We have somebody who, the president of the United States incited a riot today.
He incited a riot today.
And a woman,
he wasn't alone.
And a
he
woman
wasn't
is
alone.
A woman is dead who shouldn't be dead. Now, her dumbass was there in the first place, and she's a domestic terrorist.
Yep.
So my sympathy only goes so far, but a human life was lost because of Donald Trump's rhetoric. You can draw a straight line. Okay. Yep. This isn't your kid playing Grand Theft Auto in his bedroom for a little bit and maybe gets a little violent in his teens. This is a direct correlation between what the president said and his wink in a nod to people. Proud Boy bitches were there today doing their fucking thing, acting like fools. So Joe Biden should make it as apolitical as possible. He should say, look, Department of Justice, whoever he nominates, whoever leads it, look, it is at your discretion, but I want to be very clear. They had to break the law in pursuit of following this Trump bullshit. But if it's there, go after him. And you know what? I think the Mueller report is a good place to start.
Gia just said, and a woman saved the electoral. What was that? Tammy Duckworth that did that? Did Tammy Duckworth do that?
I'm not sure exactly what Gia is referencing, so maybe she can clarify. But I was going to piggyback on a point you made earlier. Black folks just saved the Senate, and by black folks, straight up, I mean Stacey Abrams and the work that she has done. That woman deserves a knighthood. Or whatever the gender appropriate term for giving a woman a knighthood is. But she is a national fucking treasure, and every Confederate statue torn down in Georgia should be replaced with her image.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I tell you no, go ahead. I'm sorry. I thought
my second point is, for the very few people who are Trump supporters and chose to get online today and try to comment on shit.
Oh my God, man.
First off, fucking A. I honestly, at some point, you kind of feel bad for, you know, running the football over your, you know, friend's retarded little brother. Sorry, oh, goddamn. I take that back. My apologies straight away. Absolutely used the wrong term there. Wrong term there.
That's okay.
But
that's okay. We'll
beating up on your friends, you know, mentally incapacitated younger brother is not right. So in some ways I feel a little bad, but some of these people jumped in to say, you know, hey, when black people were protesting during the summer, this was going on. Well, first off, no, it really wasn't. There were a few incidents, and I think by and large we all said, you know what, the protest is legit. Rioting is not right.
Yes.
And you know, I think we gave a little bit of a pass at times. We said, look, there's some righteous anger going on, and they're trying to use that excuse right now. And in their minds, they see a moral equivalency. Okay. Now, the problem with that is they're too stupid to know better. They truly are. And I'm not ashamed that word I'm going to use. They're too stupid to know better. If they were truly cheated out of the vote, if there was truly massive election fraud on the scale that that they say is so self-evident, then they would have righteous anger. I'd be marching on Washington too, except it didn't happen. They're completely in thrall to a narcissist. I don't. Are all of these people just abused spouses that they take the punishment and then Trump says, "But I love you and only I can help you out." So they go groveling back to them, hands and knees, "Please make my life better." All these so-called badass patriots clearly needed a dude with a bigger dick than them to tell them what to do. And by bigger dick, little hands probably isn't, which tells you everything you need to know about these incel motherfuckers who clearly do not have the courage of their convictions. That's my phrase today. If you're gonna fucking hang your hat on some shit, hang it.
Yes.
Be willing to take that ass kicking, because I guarantee you the Proud Boys aren't. I guarantee you half these phony soldier wannabes. I got into a little joking contest with a buddy of mine from across the pond. He's the Scouse fan. I won't hold that against him today. But we joked, send in Elijah Wood and the Green Street Meanies, and they'd clean up. These y'all Qaeda motherfuckers think they're hot shit. And yeah, you showed up in numbers. Good on you. And maybe you got a few allies in the cops. But at the end of today, there is going to be a cold, hard truth that no amount of shouting fake news and hoax can take away. Joe Biden and Kamala Harris are about to be the next president and vice president of the United States. The Senate and the House of Representatives belong to the Democrats. If the Democrats have any fucking balls at all, start ramming through legislation
tomorrow.
And you know what? I wouldn't ordinarily say that. But when the legislation is going to be healthcare, stimulus checks for people, stimulus checks for businesses, the small businesses that are struggling, a check on taxes on billionaires, a check on the ability to get high-powered semi-automatic weaponry that most ordinary citizenry should not have their hands on. All of this shit is righteous and well worth pursuing. And guess what? It's not your country anymore.
Yes.
If you want to participate, if you want to fall in line, if you want to be a patriot, and you talk about all this bullshit about law and order, if you believe in that, then you denounce what you saw today. You get rid of this stupid, foolish attempt to protest the Electoral College, which has always been in your favor in the first place.
Yep.
And you fucking get in line with rational people, rational thought. I'm sick of having to explain the basics to people, to have to fucking go back and tell you what sixth grade government should have taught your ass.
Yeah, exactly. You know, I think one of the things, and I'm looking at getting texts coming in and things like that. And a good friend of mine, good friend of the podcast, actually, Cody, he said, ignorance, fear, and racism are why this is happening. And you know what? I don't know that I can add anything else to that. You know, it absolutely is. It all comes down to that. If you had a chance to watch Black AF on Netflix, it's so poignant because every title of every episode says, I know you may not believe it, but this episode is because of racism. And it is absolutely true. What, you know, Aaron, and here's the thing, man, you laid out so many good points. But connecting all those things together, we see this man that has this just unexplained control. And for me to say that, I almost feel like Dietrich Bonhoeffer sitting here looking and saying, I am freaked out by this type of control that this man has over these people.
Over the type of people that he was trying to lead. That to me is even more important, because I cannot believe the number of self-professed Christians, and you definitely get the air quotes, folks, who support a man who's not just flouting marital shit, who's not just unethical in his business dealings,
Yeah.
is literally antithetical to the teachings of Christ. I'm not,
Yes.
I'm not the holiest person on the planet by any means. I'm an agnostic slash atheist. But I tell you what, I've read the Bible a few times. I've read them all, and my experiences with what I would consider people of faith, yourself included, does not fall in line with this. So the number of people that have been misled by this man were either never true Christians in the first place, which I think there's some merit to that, or much like everybody else I was talking about earlier, so need some sort of messianic figure in their life that they're willing to just kowtow to it. And I think that's ultimately where, Bonhoeffer was upset about where his country was going, but upset that so many people that should have known better began to follow such an evil person.
Yeah. And that's the quandary, isn't it? I mean, that's what we look at and we say, and once again, this is why I say my soul hurt today.
Yeah.
Because it's not only the fact that we profess that we are a nation where all men are created equal, but the fact is that we say that we are a nation under God. Guess what? If this is the reflection of the God that our nation serves, I want no part of it. I want no part of it. You know me, man. I'm a recovering Christian. That's right. I'm a recovering Christian, and my faith has never been stronger. I believe in humanity. I believe in the spirit that connects us all, and once again, our own faith and our own spirituality is something that we all have to wrestle with, and we land somewhere on that spectrum. But if we don't wrestle with our faith, this is what we get. We get people who blindly follow something because it's hard. That work is hard to do when you wrestle with your faith, because it destroys everything that you were brought up to believe. But then you're able to construct it based on what really is happening within your soul, within your spirit, man. And people are so scared of that. They're so afraid of what they will become that they will succumb to whatever a con man like Donald Trump, or a con man like Franklin Graham, or a con man, like Jerry Falwell and Jerry Falwell Jr., or whoever you want to put in there. They will succumb to whatever they say. And instead of truly following that spirit that connects and binds us all, they're more content to follow a book that was put together by men with an agenda. And with that, damn it, I'm declaring halftime.
Well, man, look, snake oil salesman was a job and a thing in history that we know about because people made money from it.
Damn right they did. You're right.
Nobody ever went broke lying to a fool. I don't remember what the exact.
Oh, dude, that's such a great quote. No one ever went broke lying to a fool.
I mean, I don't know. There's a more succinct version of that quote than what I just said, but I mean that's the truth. You can make a pretty good living out of taking advantage of stupid people in America because everybody. Look, conspiracy theories exist because people have an innate need to believe that they know something that not everybody else does, that they're in on some secret, no matter how ridiculous that is. I want to touch on two things. Gia said, I got to say, we thought Trump cheated last time, but we didn't fly to DC to storm the Capitol building. I saw a great meme today. Everybody said, oh, when the Democrats lose in 2016, they're going to riot and go crazy. No, Democrats knitted pink hats and donated Planned Parenthood. We did not, there were some issues. Don't get me wrong. I remember inauguration day, and it's nothing to be proud of. But I don't think it was anywhere on the scale of
No,
this. And then
no, come on.
Aya said, so quick thought about today. America's lucky that Trump isn't as smart as someone like Viktor Orban in Hungary. Damn right.
Yeah.
And I only bring up Orban because the right loves that dude. And if you read what he's done over the years, yeah, absolutely. Here's the thing, if Donald Trump, no, let me put it this way. If Mike Pence had the vindictiveness of Donald Trump, things would be far worse, because Mike Pence actually understands how government works. He understands the machinations of it, and he understands the different things. But Donald Trump has demonstrated what you can get away with. Look at what they've gotten away with.
Oh my God.
In 4 years. And the sad reality is, okay, there's a few people saying, "Oh my God, this was terrible today, and I'm done with this." How many things have happened over the last 4 years that we told you was going to happen and checked off the list? And now the last straw was that he convinced people to storm the Capitol building. Where the fuck have you been?
You've got a hell of a threshold. That's all
Hillary
I'm
Clinton
saying.
told us exactly what was going to happen. And you can hate Hillary Clinton all you want. And honestly, I am not a fan of Hillary Clinton.
Dude, I'm throwing all kinds of love your way right now.
No one has ever been more accurate in their prediction for what's going to happen over the next 4 years than that woman was on stage in either the second or third debate. She told you exactly what was going to happen.
Yep.
And I think literally, I'm going to use literally in literal terms, I think everything she said has come to fruition.
And don't talk to me about her being out of pocket calling those people deplorables. You saw some deplorability today.
And you know what?
You saw it.
They keep saying, "Oh, Trump was taken out of context." No, you know what? Here's the thing. I actually take the time to read and listen to transcripts and all that shit. And I was watching live when Hillary Clinton said that about Trump supporters. And you do not have to be a linguist to know that she was speaking about a subset of people. Look, there are plenty of people who probably voted for Trump the first time around for tax reasons or what have you. There are probably a couple policy issues, and while I think they're wrong, they get a wee bit of a pass. Second time around, you don't. He told you exactly who he was, and he did exactly what he said he was going to do, and he's a piece of shit for it. So that's on you now. If you follow through, then that's on you. But you got told straight up what was going on. The man's a puppet of Russia. The man's going to subvert all of the rules of law. He has no respect for it. He has no respect for the institutions of America. He doesn't care about America. He cares about Donald Trump. And everything he has done over the last 4 years reinforces that. There's literally no way to defend it. And yet there are still people who try to say, well, the media just takes him out of context. No, motherfucker. I watched him speak live.
Oh, yes. It's right there. That I think that's what creates such dissonance for us, is that we're trying to make an irrational institution make sense. We're trying to say, you know what, this is there has to be a rationale behind it. When we are looking at Trump and we're looking at MAGAism and we're looking at Trumpism, it's like slavery. It's not a rational institution. You cannot make sense of slavery. You can say slavery was there because, people needed to make money, but you can't make sense of it, because in slavery, yes, you're making money, but people were whipping and beating and killing the very things that were making them money. It doesn't make sense. And so for us to try and take Trumpism and put it in a lens that makes sense, it's going to be out of focus every single time.
Yep.
That's what's happening here.
You called halftime, and I decided to allow teams to play well into Fergie time a little bit.
But you go ahead, because I need another beer. There we go.
All right.
I need to have a little fridge here or something.
You do. Roger says, here's what I can say. for the events of today. And
there we go.
Quit doing that. And buckle up, because it mightn't be what you expected. This Marine is nonplussed with what we're seeing in the Capitol today, not the least casting down of our flag, not least the symbolic casting down of all that this banner is meant to represent: honor, courage, commitment, and democracy. Well, so many of those people don't fully understand it. To be clear, those ideals are far and away more important to me than any symbol, and to the degree the basic promise of our democracy has denied itself to so many, cast it down. But that wasn't what we saw today. We saw treason, plain and simple. Yeah, and I think, I think that's dovetailing with what I was saying earlier. If there were truth behind these allegations, there would be some righteousness to this level of pushing back. I'd be angry too. But there's just no evidence. And what gets me is, I go back to, should I dismiss these people as not intelligent? Well, if somebody comes to me and says, hey, Aaron, so-and-so broke into your car. I've got it on tape. I have him talking about it. There's overwhelming evidence.
Yeah.
I'd be like, cool, show me. And if you're like, no, I mean, what really needs to happen is you got to make Evan leave your show because he's the one. I'd be like, well, I think you probably need to really show me that evidence, because now you're really messing with me. Well, but I just can't. But you just got to take my word for it. Well, no. How gullible are you that you think really defrauding a federal election requires some coordinated effort? I mean, I think you'd have to really be fairly clever to pull this off, I think.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
No, you're not going to win the presidency by, the Tammany Hall version of, okay, well, Evan voted and he's going to come back next time with glasses on. And then he's going to come back next time with the bottom of his beard shaved off. And then he's going to shave off his mustache he's going to vote 4 times. Well, okay, that might have worked back in the day, but we have so many things in place now. So if you're this gullible to believe it without any facts, then how do I have a conversation with you? How do we have any sort of discussion? Let's get to this halftime shot.
Yeah. Well, and I've got my halftime shot. Jeremy already said it. Trump's Twitter is locked for 12 hours. There's what I'm shooting to right there, my friend.
But I saw that earlier, and I thought, 12 hours, my ass. I mean, why can't you just say he's done?
He's done.
What more does anybody need at this point? Like, what are Republicans in Congress afraid of now?
Yeah, no, they're not.
The man is going to be impotent. I believe he already is, but he can still get a crowd together. But in 14 days, the only people who are going to show up at Trump rallies for the next 4 years are the most deluded motherfuckers among us.
Absolutely.
And if you're a congressional politician right now, you need to say, you know what? Enough's enough. I finally found my balls after 4 years. I had to go looking for them, but there they are again.
Yep.
And if I hear Susan Collins open her fucking mouth one more time,
oh my God, Murkowski, Collins.
No, you've had your chance. Jeff Flake, sick of you two.
Yeah,
say shit.
You know what? Where were you? Where were you? Anyway, let's take this shot, dude. Let's take this shot. Hey, I give it to Trump being, shut up for at least 12 hours. No, who I shoot this to? I shoot this to all the reporters that were out there today that took all the shit from that dumbass crowd and still did their fucking job. You know what? I appreciate that. You guys were there. You kept us informed. You let us know what was going on. shout out to you guys doing your job. Thank you. Thank you so much. Appreciate you.
Absolutely.
You got one? Nope. Okay.
Well, I wanted to let you, that one should stand on its own. All I'll add to that is,
I'm pouring another one. So, if you feel the spirit move, man, just let me know.
I was pleasantly surprised, more than that, but, by the, runoff results. I thought maybe the Dems might get one, but I had two.
Yes.
Was a bridge too far. And then as it got later, and Republican, we knew that the early voting, the absentee voting was definitely going to favor the Democrats. And then as it went on, it got to like 80% reporting, and the Republicans began to take a lead. And you thought, okay, you know what? They gave it the good old college try, but Georgia is a red state. And all this is going to boost voter turnout no matter what. And then it became pretty clear, okay, Warnock's got this. I think Warnock's got this. And let me see if I can find it. Yeah.
I'm leaning back for a reason. I'm waiting until you're done, because I'm about to tell you something that's going to blow your mind.
Raphael Warnock said today, the 82-year-old hands that used to pick somebody else's cotton went to the polls and picked her youngest son to be a U.S. senator.
Damn.
That's fucking amazing.
Yes.
But I thought it was going to be a bridge too far for the other one. And then it became clear. I think at this point, Ossoff has
I think he has like 30.
It was at least 15,000 votes earlier. So
okay,
this in a statewide runoff.
Yeah,
this is a rebuke. And
you think?
And for absolute red state Georgia to now be at least a little bit blue is pretty impressive. So big ups to all the efforts Stacey Abrams made for voter turnout. Big ups to all the Democrats.
That's a person you need to shoot to right there, man.
A massive effort.
And wait a minute. Io, who did Io mention? Oh, I forget. Who did he mention? Because both of those ladies just killed it. Dang it. I don't know. I can't find it, man. Wait. Nope, can't find it. Dang. But yeah, Stacey Abrams, man, that woman, along with the new representative she's actually the Georgia Democratic Party chair. Her name's escaping me right now. But her and a slew of other, basically what we saw black woman magic in full display this entire election, man.
I want to add a little to that too, because I'm going to say it, credit where it's due. Brad Raffensperger and Sterling.
Sterling. Yep.
And especially Sterling, because that guy just has no fucks left to give for the Republicans.
which is awesome.
And these guys made it very clear. They're Republicans. They voted for Trump. Yeah. They wanted Republicans to be in office. But these two gentlemen have given me at least a little bit of hope that there are still good GOP politicians out there, still good conservative folks out there.
Yes.
Who don't want to go down this route, who do believe in the rule of law, who do believe that you go to the polls, everybody gets one vote, one man.
Yep.
And let the chips fall where they may, not cry about it after the fact.
Yeah. I stick with what in once again, man, I feel that you are very much more a Renaissance man than I am, in the fact that you have a capacity for forgiveness that I just don't. I do agree. Them standing up and doing the right thing is good. I still think they're complicit in this. I still think they voted for a man that was severely flawed. They knew that this man was going to try his best to destroy America. But what I will say is this, is that I have had um, I have had several people contact me today, and I know who voted for Trump and say, if I have offended you in any way, these past 4 years, I'm very sorry. This is deplorable. One of them actually used the word deplorable. Um, if there's anything to take away from this today, and something that is encouraging, whether, and I'm not getting into motivation here, because we can talk all day about motivation, but I don't know what's in a man's heart. I just don't. I don't know what's in a person's heart. But the fact is that when we see Republicans and Democrats, and I hope we see this in the next couple days, when we see Republicans and Democrats both calling for this president to resign, calling for this president to step down, I think we're starting to see the reclamation of our nation. I really do. I really,
It would be nice.
It's the only way to salvage, not save, but salvage the Republican Party, is if the Republicans stand up with the Democrats. And if the Democrats, like you said at the very beginning, if they have the balls to push through an impeachment, because this is exactly what impeachment was designed to do, was to remove someone from office that wants to think of themselves as a king or a dictator.
I think it's time for the 25th Amendment.
Absolutely.
A fucking impeachment. Let's just go. Let's just go straight to getting rid of him. Here's the thing. If folks, sincerely ask forgiveness, then welcome back. We can move forward.
Mm-hmm.
But true conservatives have one of two options right now. They can, at least for the time being, ask Mitt Romney or any number of people to be like, look, we either take back control of the GOP or we start our own party. But these QAnon folks, these conspiracy theories, this following a con man down a dark road just to enrich his family has got to stop. Yep. I'm going to oppose conservative political ideology, but I want it there. I want two parties. And look, there are times when some conservative policies in the moment make more sense. I have no problem admitting that. It doesn't make me.
That's called being an adult.
It doesn't make me a traitor to liberal ideology. And by the way, folks, I don't know that I'm a liberal. I'm not. Look, I wasn't even a Democrat for the longest time.
Oh, I was a Democrat. I was like a in the closet Democrat. When I was
a young libertarian before the Tea Party got a hold of the libertarians. Okay.
Okay. I get it.
I believe in small government, but at the same time, the little L liberal in me recognizes the need for government to step in at times. And I don't have a problem admitting that. But now where I am, I want conservative ideology. I want the back and forth. I want to have a discussion. I want to look, there are times when lowering taxes is best for us. There are times when raising taxes is best for us. That's why economics is not an exact science. It's more of an art.
But let me ask this. You had the wherewithal, though, to know when to shift, correct?
Evan, I'm you did a lot more erudite and exceptional than most people want to give me credit for. No,
I'm just saying.
My thing is,
you did, though, didn't you?
It's the philosophy major in me. I'm constantly asking myself a question. I'm constantly saying, I'm my own biggest doubter, which.
And that's why you're a liberal, brother. That's
well,
you've been a closet liberal all your life. I am
liberal, little L. And I've always said this, I'm libertarian,
Just
little L.
playing. Right.
Because my thing is, and I remember when I was in college or right after college, and I would tell people, I'm studying philosophy. Like, oh, well, are you Nietzschean? Do you believe in Kierkegaard? Who do you follow? And I was like, you know what, man, I take, much like my religious response or spiritual response, I take a little bit from everything.
Yes,
I
absolutely.
I in the words of Gandhi, take a little from the Bhagavad Gita, take a little from the Torah, take a little from the Talmud. All these books are lessons to teach us to be better people. The second you turn them into dogma, into these hard and fast rules, that's when you can't get yourself out of it. Look, sometimes as a Democrat, you should say, hey, maybe we do need to lower taxes on a certain group.
Yes.
Sometimes as a conservative, you should say, hey, we should raise taxes on this certain group of people because we need it right now. To be so ideologically burdened is to really to sacrifice independent thought. And I don't want people representing Democrats or Republicans who refuse to have independent thought. And that's where we've gotten right now.
Dude, Gia just we could end the show right now. This is the quote of the night. I'm calling it. Gia just said, non-commitment allows to be one that brings change to something that has faults. It allows us to be flexible. If we're able to truly look, Roger. Nah, you're wrong. Gia said, nah, you're wrong.
Let's just watch this unfold in real time.
Let's just watch this happen.
I love that they're probably in two separate rooms having this conversation.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Hey, it is COVID. And you know what? However you need to get this done, you get it done, fam. That's good. But dude, I swear we're coming up on the end of our podcast. But man, I just want to say something before I throw it to you to have the final word, because I'm disappointed. I wanted to have a Hey Aaron segment for you, but I think the Hey Aaron segment is just simply going to be you. You just, dude, right now, we need some encouragement. We need some words of wisdom. And I'm going to give you a little time to think about that as I pontificate for a minute. What we saw today was a travesty. And we saw a crime committed that has not been prosecuted yet. In 3 minutes, though, the Senate and the House are supposed to reconvene. I hope to see from that senators who have learned a valuable lesson go ahead and make this the ceremony that it was supposed to be. To go through the motions, certify this election, sit down and shut the fuck up. Please take note. If there are people who don't do this, we need to vote them out. They are causing insurrection in our country as we speak. There is no need to, stoke the flame of patriotism as, Ted Cruz would have us to believe. This is trauma, more trauma, on top of the trauma of not being able to see and hug and just be around those we love. Our country has truly mind fucked us this year. And this is an opportunity to stop that. This is an opportunity to see that end. And I hope that we do see the end of it very, very soon. So I'm going to throw it over to you, my friend. I love you, and I want to hear you talk for a few minutes. Give us what we need, brother. I'm with you.
On a day that should have been, if not a celebration, but a reaffirmation of how solid American institutions work. Make no mistake, there was an attack on our republic today.
Mm-hmm.
And while I'm disappointed in the tepid response, the fact remains that right now, both chambers of Congress are going to reconvene. They're going to walk back in, and they're going to affirm the votes of millions of people and declare our next president and vice president of the United States of America. And you can not love that it's Biden and Harris. That's fine. But you should be proud to have cast your vote in this country, to know that it was counted, and it was, and that this is the result of a fair election. There's a lot of work to be done. But if there is any positive to take away from what Donald Trump has done to this country for the last 4 years, it is that we know exactly who we are, who is who, and where people stand.
Yep,
and
absolutely.
It's a whole lot easier to go about your business when you know exactly where somebody stands, whether it's in opposition, sort of in alignment with you, or on your side. That's information you want. And that's where we are. So we have a choice to move forward. I don't know that Joe Biden was the best possible person to lead us in this moment, but it's here and now. And I'm going to support him until he doesn't deserve my support anymore. And at that point, I'm going to want him to step aside and give Kamala a chance. Because right now, I see nothing at all from the opposition to lead me to believe that they deserve our support, that they deserve to take the reins of this country. Joe's got a lot of work to do, and he's going to get hit from the left too, because if we really, really want to move forward, there's work to be done with minorities, with police brutality, with LGBTQ, with healthcare. And he's played the middle for a very, very long time. But I actually do think he's going to rise up to meet the moment to the best of his abilities. And it's Joe. So take that as you will. But I think we lost Evan. I am very, very cautiously optimistic that we continue to move forward, and that much, much better days, and it wouldn't take much after today, but much, much better days are ahead for this great nation. It is not an accident. I chose this on purpose. I still believe this is the greatest experiment in human politics that has existed. We're flawed. We need to embrace our flaws, acknowledge them, and move forward. And today is a huge, huge reminder of that. So I hope that the craziness that's about to occur in Congress is quick and over. And by the end of tonight, the United States and the rest of the world knows that the next president of the United States is Joe Biden. Kamala Harris is his vice president, and better days are to come. I love everybody out there. Thank you so much for tuning in. This was not a great day in American history, but future generations are going to mention it in history books. and it's up to us to determine how that chapter ends.